Thank you for joining us, everyone. Welcome to the Access to Capital Forum. We're hoping to do a few of these. If you don't know me, my name is Matt. I run the Economic Development Program at Washington County. Here's a slide that talks about the Economic Development Program at Washington County. And I think most of you have heard me go through this spiel of kind of what we do and kind of what our charge is from the Board of County Commissioners. Real briefly, we work to continue on this journey of centering equity in our work. We're focused on equitable economic development. We understand that means co-creation and having a conversation with you all, with community. So that's very much central to what we're trying to do. We also do have a geographic focus. We have wonderful cities like Hillsborough and Beaverton, and sometimes Sherwood. Just kidding, Bruce, I like to poke at you. But we also know that we have 200,000 people in Washington County that live outside of cities, and we have some smaller cities that don't have the capacity of these bigger cities. So part of our charge is to be thinking about those areas. And I know that we've been working with a number of you specifically on urban unincorporated areas and trying to support businesses and workers there. We are incubated by the ARPA dollars. You know, we've got a number of different contracts out here focused on economic recovery, increasingly economic resilience as we're kind of coming out of the pandemic. So that this is part of that, is having a conversation with you all about how we can continue to have a strong economic ecosystem here in Washington County. But one thing that's not on this slide that I wanted to bring up with you all is a subplot. And I swear this is not a nefarious subplot. The subplot is around fostering a culture of learning and a culture of collaboration. Since I've been working in the county since 2021, I've seen that there already was, and Tammy did a good job of starting some of this, and Mara's group in Adelante did a good job of doing this too, and others, of working together across organizations. And we want to continue to promote that culture of working together, looking for opportunities to work together, and learning together. So this forum that you're at here today is part of that, and we're looking forward to your participation. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to turn it to Adrienne Chalet to give you more of a rundown of what we're up to and what this forum's all about. So thank you.
I mean, many of you participate and are active in the Washington County Small Business Support Network that meets quarterly. Some of you are new faces, and so it's great. Welcome to see you. It's very much open to everyone. Our next meeting is on June 13th. And the group has really undertaken asset mapping as their priority project over the last year. And we've made some big strides in developing the county-hosted website that will feature all of your amazing work and serve as an educational platform for small businesses to navigate all the amazing resources that we have across Washington County. And as Matt mentioned, the idea of peer learning, this forum actually came from the network. This idea came specifically from Victor. And so thank you, Victor. And we want to use this as a model and an example of the type of forums that we can provide the capacity for you to come together and learn about specific topics. That's our role. So we're very happy to come up with, if you have other ideas of these types of informational forums or presentations or panels, we would love to facilitate that. We have a long list of interesting topics. Rural economic development is one, for example. But very much welcome all of your feedback in that regard. Our next meeting on the 13th will be in Tigard. We just got notification this morning, so I'll update the calendar invite at the library there. And we're going to follow up on our last conversation, which was very important, the presentation from the Coalitions of Communities of Color on addressing the racial wealth gap report. And we really want to make sure that that conversation time doesn't pass too far and that we have a meaningful deep dive as a group into ways that we can integrate the findings from that report into our collective work and our individual organizations. And then just today, you know, the goal of this is really to better understand the spectrum of capital and access to capital, the barriers and gaps in services that small businesses face, and have a robust conversation with all of these folks. So we have limited time today, and we have a lot of very incredible panelists, presenters, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so we're going to dive in, and we're starting with Joshua. Joshua Jacobs from MESO.
For those who don't know, MESO is Micro Enterprise Services of Oregon. We have an office in Beaverton. We basically service all of Washington County, Multnomah County from our Portland office, East County from our Gresham office. We have a Clackamas person. We don't have an office there right at this moment, and then Vancouver as well. We're looking to expand our Vancouver offerings. So we are a CDFI micro lender. We have technical assistance for small businesses. We have a business IDA program. But as you know, we're here to talk about capital. So in terms of our lending, we really focus on being low barrier. Our primary market or client base is businesses owned by people of color, also women-owned businesses. We do sometimes, go outside of that, but that's our primary focus. So we really are trying to make our lending accessible to those who have historically been excluded from bank lending. So our loans are designed for low-income households. We do have an income limit on most of our products. So that is something to keep in mind if you're ever referring people to us. We focus on BIPOC and women-owned businesses, as I mentioned. We do accept low credit scores on some of our products. We try to be more accessible than the banks, and so we're more lenient on the credit score. If someone comes in with a very low credit score, like sub 500, or no credit at all, we have a credit building loan, which I'll get to on the next slide. We also, some of our loan products, not all of them, can be offered to people with an I-10, so if they're not a US citizen at this time, we can also offer them a loan in some cases. We try to have our collateral requirements be less strict than traditional lending as well. And one of our loan products, which we don't publicly advertise, but I'm letting all of you know about it right now, it's called a 40/60 loan, which is basically if the client is able to pay off 60% of the loan on time, then 40% of that loan will be forgiven. So that's a really great product. It's generally it is 40/60 loan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's generally very strictly for like Black-owned businesses. Sometimes that's expanded to other communities of color, but generally not for white-owned businesses. This is our product sheet. So we get this via email, and you can zoom in, but it's kind of hard to get an idea of what's going on here. But this is our Credit 101 program, which is for people, again, with low or no credit. So that is either a $100 or a $200 loan. There's absolutely no collateral required. The only thing that we ask for people to get enrolled in that program is a credit education class, which we provide at no cost, and then they have to have a bank account for their business and legal ID. So that's a really great program. It's 10 months. So if they do the $100 loan, it's $10 a month. If they do the $200 loan, it's $20 a month. And we report to all 3 credit agencies so that their credit score goes up. We have a relationship loan, which is up to $20,000. It's for any business-related expense. These 2 loans are 9.5% interest rate. We do require collateral on both. We accept property, vehicles, guarantor. And then we require some additional things, some financial literacy classes, which we also provide. We have a growth loan, which is $20,000 to $250,000. The term is 84 months on that. And then we also have a real estate loan, which is up to $500,000 that can only be used for down payment or making payments on commercial property. We also offer a credit line or line of credit with in partnership with Prosper Portland, so that is only for Portland clients. And I think I'm out of time, so thank you.
Rivermark, Aiden.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abed Helm, the Chief Lending Officer for Rivermark. So, those of you know, Rivermark is local. We're right around the corner, almost about 10 minutes away from here on Gemini. We're in 15 counties within the state of Oregon, and then we're also all in Washington now as well. We just recently became CDFI certified last February. So we're the largest CDFI within the Portland metro area. So great information for you guys to know. So the question that we came in is why? So, so why providing equitable access to capital? Why is it important? And used some information from a recent Barlow Research Associates back in September 2020, and they're just looking at diversity from business, customers, and bank perspectives. One other big question is minority-owned companies were less likely to agree strongly their primary bank definitely met credit needs. So I think that's one of the obstacles when you hear from marginalized communities is my bank institution that I put my money in, they don't know me. They're not available, they're not hearing me, they're not providing credit, right? If you look at that, 39% said of minority owned said they meet their needs, only 39% versus non-minority was 44%. They have efficient loan application process, only 29% of minority owned business said yes, non-minority was 34%. And here's where the rubber meets the road. Credit demand is twice as high among minority-owned small businesses. So the need is there, but we're not providing access to capital. Why is that? Right? So as you see, minority-owned businesses, 58% said we expect to apply or we're not sure. The reason why we say not sure is we're not sure they'll be able to get access to the credit for multiple reasons, right? And they say expected to apply at 24% versus 8% for non-minority owned small businesses. So it's really about how do we make sure that we meet all small businesses where they are, right? So that way, when marginalized communities don't feel like they're invisible when it comes to financial institutions partnering with them to help them build and sustain their relationship. So what we come up with at Rivermark is we have it's called a Diversity Small Business Lending Program. The objective for this is to say yes versus saying no. Okay, and this increases the opportunity for us to provide equitable access to capital. So one of the things I want you to zero down on is here, credit score is not the main indicator of how we assess credit and where we're going to provide credit. We decided to look at one of the things is the debt service normally for traditional banks is 1.25 to 1. We're saying, we know traditionally that doesn't work for the marginalized community. So we're taking the risk and we're saying we're going to go 0.5 to 1. There's no institution across the country is doing what we're doing. Because we know there's a need, and if we're going to say we're going to lean in, we're actually leaning in and actually being authentic and providing the access to capital where it's needed. So what we're doing is we're keeping that humanistic component of it first and foremost. And then the data comes second. So what we do is we sit down and talk to the individuals, understand what their story is, figuring out exactly how can we address the needs that they have, and then try to find a solution to make that happen. And we started this probably about a little over a year and a half ago. Just last year we did about $1.9 million in small business loans, which 100% went to women-owned and minority-owned businesses. So, and out of that total, we did about $3.2 million in total small businesses loans last year. 44% went to women-owned, and 28% went to minority-owned. So a lot of times we do that. We provide that data to you because a lot of folks say, "Oh yeah, we're diverse. We provide access to capital," but they don't have the data to back it up. We have the data to back it up, and we continue to do that on a monthly basis. So that way, if anyone comes in and say, "Hey, how's it working?" We got the data to say, "Hey, this is who the loans go to." We can even have you reach out to individuals and speak to minority-owned businesses and let them know the value that they see in Rivermark because we're unique.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiana Haggard. Some of you may be familiar with me. or my organization. I work for OAME, which is known as Oregon Association of Minority Entrepreneurs, and we're located in the heart of Delta Park. We service anyone that lives in Oregon or Southwest Washington. Okay, thank you. So we have OAME is a micro lender, and so we have a loan program. The one that we typically use the most is going to be our joint check agreement loan. So it requires that you have a completed invoice for work that you need to for work that you are going to perform, or for work that has been performed and you're just awaiting payment. So what we would do is we would send you an application that you fill out. It's pretty easy to fill out. I guess I want to say that. I feel like it's user friendly, and if you have questions about it, I can assist. But you would fill out the application, and then we would send you a couple of miscellaneous forms, and one of them will be the joint check agreement, in which we would send to the person that you are awaiting payment from. And they would need to agree to either send OAME the full payment, and then we would cut you a check after we take the portion that you owe to us, or they would just give us the amount of the loan and interest that you've accrued. Our interest rate for our loans is only 5%, which is lower than most traditional banks and maybe a little lower than a lot of other agencies. And we also process our checks within 24 to 72 hours. We know that you need to get your money back in your hands so that you can buy supplies, or you need to get your employees paid and things like that. So we try to move pretty fast, and I do everything on my end. And I just capture as much information as I can get, and then I just put it in the computer, so you don't have to put too much time into getting this loan processed. So we also offer, we also have a term loan, which we're currently not offering. We will be hopefully bringing this back next month once we re-up on our funding, but it's the same exact process, except for it just requires a little bit of time. It takes about 14 days for this loan to completely get processed, and it goes up to 36 months. The reason why it takes us this long is because we get approval from our loan committee, and we also require a little bit more, like such as collateral and whatnot. As of today, we typically have loaned out about $16,000, and our grand total since we've started our microloan program, we've given out $16.4 million. And we assist all businesses. It's not limited to bicycle shops, auto detailing, if you have a food cart, things like that. We service everyone. OAME's model is everybody's in, no one's out, meaning that we're an inclusive company, and we service everyone. And yeah, I just spoke a little ahead. So yeah, Sam Brooks is our founder, and one of his models is stay ready to be ready. You just never know when you're put into a position to where you have to just sell yourself, or you need to have your paperwork ready and things like that. Just always stay ready to be ready. You can skip that one. Sorry, And then I just want to let you guys know too, every month, 2 times a month, we have meetings at OAME. We have our contractors meeting, which is the second Friday of the month. And then the last Friday of the month, we have our coffee and issues meeting. It's a more in general meeting. Both meetings start at 7:30 a.m. and they're virtual, or you can come to our center at OAME, and I'd be happy to give you guys more information, add you to our emailing list or whatnot.
I am here to represent PCC Small Business Development Center and the Global Trade Center, all under one roof, figuratively. My name is Mike Kelsey, and I've been with the SBDC here in Portland, PCC, for just under 12 years. I work specifically on the capital access team, and myself and my peers, we are the people that help clients to ease their pain when they have been to 4 or 5 or 12 lenders and been declined or didn't get the help they wanted. and they come to us, and so we get to do a little bit of counseling and try to tell them that there's going to be some help we can give you. Every single person at the SBDC is directed and focused on helping people to get ready for the lending market. And we cover basically everything we can. We have classes, I'm an advisor, and we have contact with people all the time. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about the SBDC is that we're not a one and done kind of an organization, and I don't think anybody else here probably is either. And I've had calls in the last 2 months from people that I've seen anywhere from 9 years to 5 years ago. And it's been kind of ingratiating to have people contact you after that much time that things worked out or didn't work out. I had one that didn't work out 9 years ago, and she called a bakery company business, and she's in a different position now, a little more money to help her try to do what she wants to do, and we started up again. So we go ahead and flip it into. So our advising is basically one-on-one, although we do sometimes use 2 advisors. I am a generalist, basically. I come from a finance background, and so I'm a little bit of a geek in that way, but I have experience with businesses that my family owned over the years and so on. But if I have something that is out of my wheelhouse, we have another person that will ride along with us and help that particular client. If we don't have that resource, we will find that for that person. That's one of the things that we try to do for everybody. As I said, we've got training, we've got classes that cover everything, not just the finance part, but we talk about marketing and social media, and get them involved in what they need to do besides just, and as you know, everybody knows this, the owners of the business, they don't want to know about the numbers. They really don't. And most of them, I get a few once in a while that really get into it. But we worked on that. And we have, and I've talked to a few people here already today that we have SBDCs all over the state. And a lot of places we will refer people to them, they'll refer people to us. Again, I'm a capital access advisor on that team, and I worked with clients basically all over the state over the years, helping them out in different things, just providing what I can provide. Quick rundown on our process for the capital access team. When we sit down with clients, and I know this is just kind of one size fits all, but it really doesn't. We work and sit down with people with documents. What have you got? Do you have a business plan? Do you know how to do projections for your financials and so on? Is it a brand new business that's in the dream stage, or did it just start, or are we second level? We talk about different funding options, which you will find that we keep track of this. I do, specifically in the Portland Tri-County area, and all the way from grants to traditional lending, and we talk about sources, and that we take into account looking at what they're looking for, what their project is. As you know, restaurants have kind of a high mortality rate in the Portland area, and people are really excited about starting a restaurant. So we work on that to see how will you compete.
Yeah, but we can give you.
Okay. We help them to organize things. We have people come in sometimes literally with a shoebox with their business plan, and then the rest of it's up here. We try to help organize that so that when it goes to a lender, they can actually understand what they're doing or trying to do. We spend time coaching them. Most of the time, we will introduce our clients after we have worked with them for a while to the lender. So we don't just say, it's great, go forth and try to get money. We will give them at least a warm introduction to somebody in an organization, so they don't just try to walk into a branch and it continues on in their headaches like that. We're also, as I said earlier, we're not a one and done. We'll work with people for, as I said earlier, for years. So we may meet with somebody half a dozen times if they're all figured out and just kind of want to see what they can do to make it better. or if they really just don't know anything about what they should do, it could be a couple of dozen times over X number of weeks or months.
Okay, let's turn it over to Victor with Business Impact Northwest.
Thank you very much, and thanks for hosting this event. I have the opportunity to work with a lot of great organizations, almost all of the people in this room, as well as all the lenders in this room, and I thought it was a great opportunity to come together because every one of us has something a little bit different, but we're all here to support small business owners. And when I was talking to Aubin a year ago, when he gave me that information, I was like, that's an amazing program. It's probably the best kept secret out there. I sent someone over to MESO today, or actually yesterday, for a community advantage loan, because they're one of the few community advantage lenders out there. I sent someone to over to Aldo, well not you Aldo, but over to Craft 3 because they're looking for a loan for their nonprofit, and they're one of the great nonprofit lenders, and they actually give a discount in their fees and for nonprofit businesses. And I work with Noah and the Capital Access team, so I thought it would be a great opportunity. Even with OAME, I've sent so many people for their AR loans, quick, easy, low cost. And what we want to do is try to remove as many barriers as possible. For us, we run the MBDA in Oregon. We run several programs for the SBA as well as the USDA in multiple states. And we try to look for whenever a business comes to us and says, we can't find access to lending, what can we do? Luckily, I get to talk to them and find them the right resource, but this is an opportunity for you guys to do the same thing within the community. We can start at $5,000 and go up to $750,000 in lending. We have programs for ITIN. We're working with Craft 3 with a Sharia compliant program that is almost done, so that's going to be available in the next couple of months as well. We have a product that's called the Impact Loan that removes credit and collateral as a barrier to lending. But if we think about it, majority of us in this room have some type of credit. Majority of small business owners don't. We also know that 40% of small businesses fail because they don't have access to capital. So what can we do as a community to help each other to do that? So all these resources here, I would say if they can't find a lending opportunity between one of us up here, they're probably not ready for lending, but we can offer them solutions. Whether it's going through a loan program that's gonna build their credit, come through us in our loan readiness department to have access to build credit for free, but find some type of solution to that. Whether it's working with the SBDC, they do a great job of working with their clients for years. I literally have gotten so many of them that have been working and they finally get to that point where they're finding lending options. But trying to overcome any barriers out there, and that's, again, as a community here, that's what we're trying to do. The best resource that you can do is just reach out to us if you have any clients that are out there in need of them. We also know that 70% of small businesses fail within the first 10 years. That's a very bad statistic. But whether it's from some type of capital access or all the technical assistance providers out in this room as well, we can help overcome that. And with the information that's going to be sent around, please keep that. You don't have to memorize it. Reach out to any one of us. We do all work with each other. I literally, every single week, I get a joy of talking to about 50 small business owners. And I cannot tell you, every single week, I do send at least 3 or 4 to each one of these people. But there's always an opportunity to find access to capital. That's it.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim McCright, Director of the Oregon Startup Center, here with Julie Brown, our Director of Operations. We're located right across the hall. So I told Julie she couldn't turn in mileage. We've been here since the 1st of January, previously down the street. And we were known a year and a half ago and prior to that as the Oregon Technology Business Center. We changed the name to Oregon Startup Center because we represent and work with all sectors of startup businesses, not just tech companies. We have clothing companies, food companies, web apps, and whatever, medical, two different medical companies doing very well. So what is different about our group is that we're not lenders. We're investors in 5 companies each year, and we assist other startup companies to find investment money. In the last 8 years, we've had our West Side Startup Competition here, and we pick with our angel investors, we pick 5 companies each fall to invest $25,000 each into, and then we mentor them and help them grow and get connected to other sources of funding. And what we're looking for are basically companies that are scalable. It has to be a company where the investors can expect to get a good return on their investment. So in most cases, it's a company that's looking to expand, certainly statewide, region-wide, nationally, maybe even internationally. So we are looking for those types of markets and potential. Now, many of our companies, actually most of our companies, are either pre-revenue or very early stage revenue. And we're probably the only investors who are able to put up seed money for someone who's pre-revenue and is almost at the idea stage. So we're open to really any small business that you're working with that has potential to grow. And we open the competition for our West Side Startup Challenge in August, and then we'll pick the companies by November. And then throughout the next year, we'll particularly focus on those companies and others that come to us to ask for help on how to grow their company and how to find additional capital. The advantage, obviously, we have is that we don't require any personal guarantees. The money is invested in their company so that we have them focused on growing the company, not worried about paying back the loan or the investment money. So we've been very fortunate. We've invested $1,090,000 in the last 8 years, and they've gone on to raise, those 40 companies have gone on to raise a little over $100 million in the last 8 years. So we've picked some good companies and we're able to help them grow. So if you have entrepreneurs who are at that stage of an idea and a market that's really scalable and has the potential to grow, we'd love to talk to them and help them and connect them to the financial resources and investments particularly that they need to really grow the company. So thank you.
So my name's Aldo. We get the nerves out a little bit and then I'll talk to y'all. But I work at Craft 3. We're a nonprofit, CDFI loan fund, and so we provide access to capital and loans to small businesses, homeowners, and nonprofits throughout the Pacific Northwest. So the entire state of Washington, the entire state of Oregon. Our loans range, our minimum loan is about $50,000 and we can go up to about 10 million. So the range is pretty wide, but we've broken up our loans from $50,000 to $250,000 is what's considered, like a small loan or a small dollar loan. Anything over $250,000, and into the millions we can do. Let's see, they're term loans, so we do debt capital, so term loans, usually 60 months. The interest rates can vary. In the $250,000 loans for entrepreneurs of color, we can offer at 5%. Anything above $250,000, goes up from 9 to 12%. And so, that's part of our commitment because we are a nonprofit. We're able to generate grant money to be able to buy down the interest rate. So it's an important point there. We work with businesses, a variety of industries and sectors, but really, if the business model works and they're generating profit or there's some kind of trend towards profitability, we'll take a look. Right? We work very closely with bank partners and credit unions to understand loans that they're not able to make for whatever reason, right? Whether it's startup, credit, whatever it may be. We focus a lot on garnering some of those deals where they can't do it, we'll take a second look and we'll look at it that way. We just finished our new strategic plan. So for the next 5 years, we've committed to, just making more impact. And so I just encourage everyone here, if you haven't seen Craft 3 or don't follow Craft 3, please, look at our website. We've done a rebrand, a redesign. It's more user-friendly, things like that. And our strategic plan is on there. And then I'm the business services program lead, and so I provide technical assistance, just like many of the partners here, to get people loan ready. It's a people-centered approach, empowerment, economic framework, so really understanding the business owner's strengths and building off of that. And so, and really just demystifying the loan process, because it's not like folks apply for loans every day and business loans are really different from like mortgage, for the home. And so it's a lot of my job is education based, really helping folks understand, why the interest rates are a little bit higher than a home. And I think Victor mentioned our Sharia compliant financing is still in its infancy, but we've done a couple of different loans for that, mostly real estate, but now we're dabbling into like working capital loans, and we have an owner occupied real estate for entrepreneurs of color, really figuring out, how can folks get access to, assets and things like that. And so we partner with Evergreen on some SBA loans. But yeah, a lot of the partners here just appreciate that everyone's here for like the ecosystem and for the entrepreneurs. And the final thing that I'll say is part of my education is, is having folks stay away from like predatory lenders, which, sometimes if it's too good to be true, that's usually probably right. And so, I just appreciate everyone's like due diligence on that, and just they're out there and we lose a lot of deals to them just because our process can take a little bit longer. So a lot of my job is really education around like, what is it, how do you get, financing, and helping them understand why it takes a while, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you all. I really appreciate everyone's participation and feedback today. And on June 13th, we will be hosting the next quarterly Small Business Support Network at the City of Tigers Library. We'll be sending out everyone's contact information, the slides, as well as a few follow-up materials that these organizations have to share. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.